What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to continue giving you my top quarterbacks in leagues around the nation. And today, I'm going to be giving my top 10 quarterbacks in the Big 12 for the 2020 season. And now, before I do get into the list, since the Big 12 only has 10 teams, I'm going to be ranking what I believe are going to be the starting quarterbacks for each of these teams. So you're just going to see one player per team, and that's going to be my list. Overall, the Big 12 is a group of quarterbacks that I feel like has a lot of potential this year. I feel like the Big 12 is one of the more underrated groups of quarterbacks in the entire nation. Big 12 quarterbacks I expect to surprise some people and possibly could make some runs at Heisman contenders, playoff appearances. Big 12 is a pretty good group of quarterbacks, and we're going to kick it off. Number 10, and the Kansas starting quarterback is a little bit of a question for a lot of people. But I'm going to go with Thomas MacVittie here to start for the Kansas Jayhawks. Their quarterback, who was a senior last year, is gone, and Thomas MacVittie is coming over from JUCO. I do believe he was like the number 2 ranked pro-style quarterback in junior college. And let's look at what he did in junior college now. In JUCO, you only play 6 games, so these are his stats through 6 games last year. 1,064 passing yards with 16 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 53% completion percentage with a 126.8 passer rating, and also can run the football with 252 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. He is a pro-style quarterback, but can scramble out of the pocket. I like Thomas MacVittie. I do think he will start for Kansas. Now, I know there are a lot of other guys, but I'm going to go ahead and give him the nod. JUCO guys, really pretty good. He was pretty good last year. Considering they only play 6 games, he threw for 16 touchdown passes, which is absolutely crazy. 8 interceptions, though. That's an average, a little more of an interception per game. So just got to make some smarter throws at the football. But Thomas MacVittie from JUCO to FBS, it's a whole new step up. I can't wait to see how he plays, but he is the bottom starting quarterback in the Big 12, in my opinion. Move on to number 9, and West Virginia has a couple of questions too. You have Austin Kendall, who I believe is going to start, and then you also have Jared Doge, who also could start, but I am going to go with Austin Kendall. He's got more experience than Jared Doge, and although Doge won them more games than Austin Kendall, especially late in the season, I do believe that Austin Kendall is going to return as the starter. His numbers last year weren't great, but I do believe he is going to be back, and he's going to prove that he can still start for this West Virginia team with 1,989 passing yards, 12 passing touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Overall compiled is 61.5% completion percentage with a 122.9 passer rating. Doesn't really like to run the football, 91 rush yards and 1 rushing touchdown. But the reason I do believe Austin Kendall is going to start is he has more experience, and to me, he's just overall better than Doge is. I know Doge won them more games down the line, but to me, I do believe that Austin Kendall is going to be back. He had a down year last year. He is a transfer from Oklahoma, which I think is a big reason why he also is going to start, because we all know what Lincoln Riley has been able to do with quarterbacks. And I believe Austin Kendall's no different. It's a little different in this West Virginia system, but I do believe that Austin Kendall is going to be back under center for the Mountaineers. But he's just got to make smarter throws, and for right now, he's going to be at number 9. Number 8 is Skylar Thompson, the guy that I feel like was very underrated last year. A lot of people, I think, overlooked Skylar Thompson, and he definitely is not bad, but Skylar Thompson has just got to play maybe a little bit better this year because the Big 12 quarterbacks are going to be good. But we do look at what he did last year. 2,315 passing yards, 12 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, 60% completion percentage with a 135 flat passer rating, rush yards at 405 with 11 rushing touchdowns, so did get in the end zone a lot, just as much as he did through the air. I think he could throw for more touchdown passes. He's just got to get some wide receivers that he can trust. He definitely could throw less interceptions. Well, the interception rate was pretty good, only 5 interceptions, but just got to throw for more touchdown passes. He could definitely get the football down the field. Skylar Thompson is a guy that I feel like is still going to be underrated this year, but with the level of play in the quarterback position in the Big 12 this year, he is going to have to play at an entirely new level, and I do think he has the potential to do that. but we haven't seen it yet, in my opinion, so he's going to stay here at number 8. Now, number 7 is Max Duggan, and Max Duggan is really interesting. As a freshman last year, played pretty darn good at TCU, 2,077 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, 53% completion percentage. A 113.6 passer rating is not great, but he did have flashes last year where he looked really, really good, and then he had moments where he just looked flat out awful. Kind of what you'd expect from a freshman, though. Could run the football, though. 555 rushing yards with 6 rushing touchdowns. Max Duggan, although I don't think he impressed me last year as a freshman, he definitely is a guy that I would watch out for because, as I just said, he had flashes in moments where he was absolutely fantastic. This year, though, he's going to be sophomore. I believe he's going to make smarter throws with the football. This is overall going to improve from where he was last year. Max Duggan is interesting to me because I really like him. I think he has some great potential, but Jalen Reagor is gone. They're going to have to replace him, and I just think until Max Duggan can get more consistent, he is going to stay here at number 7. Move on to number 6, and that is Alan Bowman of Texas Tech. He has been battling injuries throughout his entire career. He's only played 11 career games, and this year, if he can stay healthy, he is going to be really, really good. We look at his career stats, which he has played 11 games, 3,658 passing yards with 23 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, 143.7 passer rating. Does not like to run the football, but does have 2 rushing touchdowns throughout his career. He's basically played an entire season worth, and for a season, these are some pretty good numbers. I mean, over 3,500 passing yards. If he can stay healthy this year, boy, Alan Bowman is going to be really, really good. Texas Tech has made a lot of improvements. Really excited to watch what Alan Bowman and Texas Tech can do this year, but it's just the question if he can remain healthy. A guy that a lot of people have forgotten about, and man, I do like Alan Bowman. I love watching him play, but haven't really got the opportunity to just because he's been sitting on the bench with an injury. So I do believe he is going to get back on the field this year and become the Alan Bowman we all want to see from him. But again, just until he can prove to all of us that he can stay healthy, he's going to stay here at number 6. Move on to number 5, and that's Spencer Rattler of Oklahoma. He was only a freshman last year and didn't play a lot. I think only threw like 11 passes for 81 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. One passing touchdown. Didn't throw an interception. Had a 64% completion percentage. I think 7 of 11, and then 155.5 passer rating. And the reason Spencer Rattler is this high is, yes, he doesn't have good numbers, but that's only because he's played in 3 games in an Oklahoma uniform. I feel like this year he's going to, I think, not necessarily overachieve, but I do think he's going to have a really good season. We all know what Lincoln Riley can do with quarterbacks. Of course, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts as of late too. So Oklahoma really, really interesting here with Spencer Rattler. Other guys have been thrown in like Tanner Mordecai, but I do think Spencer Rattler is going to be the starter for Oklahoma. And as I just said, Lincoln Riley is the quarterback whisperer, so I believe he is going to have a very prolific season at Oklahoma, why he is at number 5. Move on to number 4, and for me that is Charlie Brewer of Baylor University. He is losing his top target in Denzel Mims, but he is an absolutely phenomenal playmaker. 3,161 passing yards last year with 21 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, which is pretty good. 64.5% completion percentage with a 147.0 passer rating. 344 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns. So got in the end zone on the ground a lot. Charlie Brewer is one of the more underrated rushing quarterbacks in the nation, in my opinion. I still think he's going to have a really good season, but losing that top target in Denzel Mims is a big loss for Charlie Brewer. But he definitely has a lot of potential to make some really, really good throws. I watched Charlie Brewer a lot last year as Baylor was one of the top teams in the nation last year. And he absolutely blew the doors off my expectations of him. I looked at Charlie Brewer last year, and I was like, oh, okay, not going to do anything special. And those numbers last year were pretty good. Threw for over 3,000 yards last year, did Charlie Brewer, as I just mentioned, which absolutely insane, especially on a team that improved tenfold from where they were in 2018 in 2019. And I do think Baylor's going to continue to have some sort of success, and a big part of that is going to be thanks to Charlie Brewer. Move on to number 3, and that is Spencer Sanders of Oklahoma State. I really like Oklahoma State this year. I can't stress it enough. I've said it in the Oklahoma State video, all my Big 12 videos. I really like Oklahoma State this year, one of the top teams in returning production. And the big reason why Spencer Sanders is ahead of Charlie Brewer, although his numbers weren't as good as Charlie Brewer's last year, he is returning his top target in Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace, I really like him this year. He is one of the top wide receivers in the country, in my opinion. But we'll look at what Spencer Sanders did last year. 2,065 passing yards with 16 passing touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He was a freshman last year, sophomore this year. I think he's going to make some smarter throws with the football, cut back on those interception numbers. 63% completion percentage with a 145.4 passer rating. And while he does have 2 of the best running backs in college football, in L.D. Brown and Chuba Hubbard, he can still run the football himself. 628 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. On the touchdown numbers don't jump out to you, but those rushing yards do. That's more than a lot of people thought he was going to do as a freshman last year. Over 600 rushing yards. Again, like I just said, he's already got good running backs, so you really think there would be no need for him to run the football. But Oklahoma State, I really like them this year, and I know they just had a little bit of drama just maybe a week or so ago, but that's all cleared up now, I do believe, and Oklahoma State's going to be back and better than ever. I think Spencer Sanders is going to make some smarter throws with the football. He's got Tylan Wallace out there. He's got some running backs in the backfield that also can catch the football out of the backfield, and I expect almost every single number on this stat list to improve for Spencer Sanders in 2020. We move on to number 2, and that is Brock Purdy of Iowa State. We look at what he did last year. Basically 4,000 passing yards last year, which is crazy. 27 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 66% completion, 151.1 passer rating with 249 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. I really like Brock Purdy this year. I think he can be a sneaky Heisman contender. I know I've said that a lot. And an Iowa State team that could surprise a lot of people this year. Wide receivers do need some help, but they are surrounded by 2 of the best tight ends in college football, and Chase Allen and Charlie Kohler. Absolutely phenomenal guys, and Breece Hall is a running back that does not get talked about enough. So Brock Purdy definitely has the guys around him to be able to have really good. And Brock Purdy could have thrown for 4,000 yards last year. He was only 18 yards shy of 4,000 yards. Just had some down games late in the year, which kind of halted him from getting 4,000 yards, especially in that game against Notre Dame. Just did not play well in that bowl game. But I do believe Brock Purdy is going to be back and better than ever this year. Great player. I absolutely think Brock Purdy is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12. But I do not think he is going to be as motivated as the top guy on this list. And the top guy on this list is Sam Ehlinger of Texas University. I had to get him the number 1 spot over Brock Purdy because I just think he's going to be more motivated than Brock Purdy is this year. We look at what he did last year, some really good numbers, 3,663 passing yards with 32 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions, 65% completion, 151.8 pass rating, pretty good. 665 rushing yards with 7 rushing touchdowns. Sam Ehlinger's got a lot of chips on his shoulder after the we're back stunt. After they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, they just did not have that great of a season last year. Really underachieved, and I think Texas is going to be back this year. They're going to be better. Yes, he is losing top target Devin Duvernay, but Tariq Black is transferring over from Michigan, so they're going to get him in there. Defense. He's got a defense that can rely on an offensive line that is pretty darn good as well. Going to be able to protect him, and he'll be able to make some good throws down the field. I'm really excited to see what Sam Ehlinger does this year, and he is my most motivated quarterback in the Big 12, and therefore the top quarterback in the Big 12. All right, that's going to do it for my 2020 top 10 quarterbacks in the Big 12. And if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you are brand new to the channel, or just enjoy my content. Turn on that notification bell to join Tailgate Nation. And if you haven't done so already, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the quarterbacks in the Big 12 for 2020. And as always, until next time, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.